This is Robin's Arts and Crafts. My next project, cute little flower fairies. So for this project, you're going to need a hot glue gun and some hot glue sticks. You will need pipe cleaners. You will need some embroidery thread. Yarn and ribbon is optional. It's helpful to have some little embellishments and things. I like to use felt, and it's especially nice for kids because you don't have to finish the edges, and it's thick enough that you can embroider on it without using an embroidery hoop, so that's also helpful. I really like to use the wool felt as opposed to this plasticky kind that you get at the typical craft store. So this felt here is wool. It's got a nicer texture to it. It's prettier. It comes in nicer colors. It's just a better quality. Wool roving in either hair colors, or you can use sort of colorful hair colors too. That's also fun. You definitely need some wood beads, and I like to buy a variety of sizes and also colors because a lot of packages will come with just this one, and that would really only represent one skin color, but it's nice to have a variety. It's also nice to have other items like pine cones can be cool, walnut shells and things like that. They're not necessary, but it's fun. And I really like using little acorn caps for little hats and little bowls that they can hold. That's really cute. You're definitely going to want to use either utility scissors or wire cutters. You don't want to use your scissors to cut pipe cleaners. It's going to destroy them. The other thing I like to have are some faux or silk flowers. They're nice for skirts and wings and things like that. And I usually like to have the leaves that come off of them. I forgot to bring that, so right now I'm just using some real ones to show you how you would do that. Paper and pencil. That's helpful for making little patterns. There's other optional things, but that's basically it. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is fold a pipe cleaner. I do it almost in half so that one side comes out just a little bit longer. And you're going to want to cut that with your wire cutters right there. Then the larger half, I fold in half, and that becomes the legs and the torso, and this is the neck. And then I like to tell my little students that they need to give themselves a hug. So you wrap the arms around multiple times so that it's real snug. And then, as you can see, once you pop the little head on, it becomes a little person. These pipe cleaners are still pokey, so you want to fold that part back with the pliers part so that no one can get poked. First, I like to sort of create the place where the shoulders would be, just so it has a little bit more of a human form, and then look and see where you think the elbows would be. Put a bend there, and right here where the hands begin, bend that. And usually what I do is I just bend it back and then bend the part where the hands would be, and that part just gets tucked back so it's not sharp and pokey anymore. Same for the other arm, just bend it back. Always ends up being a little uneven, so it doesn't really matter. So now you have little arms. Usually I like to do at the joint where the legs would be, I put a bend, and then also a bend where the knees would be another little bend, and then you're going to bend where the feet go. In this case, it came out really close, so what I'm going to do is use the pliers part of the wire cutter to just bend the little pokey part back as close as I can. So little kids will probably need help with that part. And now you have your little body. So to make her little shirt, I like to do sort of a little tunic shape. And what you want to have is a piece of paper and a pencil, and you want to measure a little bit wider than the distance of her shoulders. So about like that. And down to around about the hips. Kind of a good idea to make it a little higher than the shoulders to allow for the fold over of the fabric. About like that. And then you're going to approximately double it. And then when you cut it, it'll make it a little bit more exact. So then you're just going to look at it and see if it looks about right. And I like to cut down the center of the back to where the neckline is, out there, and then cut out a little extra space for the neck. Makes it a little easier to fold over. So it's going to end up going over her shoulders and turning into a little shirt. And that looks about right. So then you're going to want to pin that onto your piece of felt. Pretty close. Normally you would pin this down, especially if it was a bigger piece of felt, but I'm gonna just hold it in place and just go ahead and cut, because I'm pretty good at holding it steady, so I'm not too worried about it. Cut that there, and down the center. It's going to be easier to cut the little neck piece if I fold this already. It's not perfectly even in the back, and it's going to be in the back, and it really doesn't matter. So here you have your little tunic shape. Let me test that out. There you go. Super cute. Now, I have a faux flower here, and it's really fun to use the little parts that come with it for other little things. Like sometimes these little parts can become cute little crowns. For example, that could be a little crown. This part could become sort of a little scepter or some kind of cute little something to add on to the character. So look at the little flower parts that you have and think about creative ways that you could use them. The kids always come up with all kinds of fun stuff. Sometimes you want to keep the little plastic bits that are attached to it. Sometimes not. You kind of have to decide by looking at it and seeing if it works. If I leave it on, it's going to leave her skirt very sticking out, so I might not want to. I might want it to drape down a little bit more. So I just need to detach this little plastic part that's attached. It's not hard to do. And I'm going to put her little legs through. And now that becomes a skirt. You could do multiple layers. I could add these on if I wanted to. It could be cuter if it was on top even. In fact, I might do that. Sometimes you don't know till you try. So it's pretty easy to just take that back off. And I think I might do the smaller one on top and put that in first. So you go through the hole here. It's a very small hole. Sometimes you have to cut the holes a little bigger to fit up over the feet, and it's a little easier if you don't bend the feet first, but I promise you I forget that 90% of the time. So there you go. I'm probably at the end going to add a little dab of hot glue, but I kind of want to arrange these little petals so that they're all facing in an interesting direction first. Kind of makes a long skirt. So I'm just going to really quickly add a little dab of hot glue here to keep her skirt from sliding down. Now I have her little shirt or tunic little top piece. I'm going to put that over. And I could use ribbon or I could use yarn. In this case, I like the color of this kind of rosy pink embroidery thread with it. If you wanted to embroider a little flower or something cute on her little shirt, that looks really cute as well. Obviously you don't have to. It's easier if you start from behind with the ribbon or the embroidery thread and then wrap around toward the back so that you can tie the tie in the back unless you want it to end up in the front. And then just kind of pull it taut until you get it to the size that you want. The other reason I like using the felt is because then it gives her body a little more bulk. If you're using fabric or something, then you need to add a little stuffing or something to give it a little bulk, or wind some extra embroidery thread around it or yarn and tie it in the back. When I've done this project with little kids that are around age 3 to 5, for example, they need an awful lot of help, but there's a lot of it that they can do and they really just enjoy participating, so there's no sense in waiting until they can do it all themselves. I do a little bow in the back. And that's pretty much it for her little outfit. So now, kind of fix her up a little bit. Pretty cute. Sometimes it just needs a little adjusting. So this is her little head. Pretty simple. I kind of think now that I've put her together, her arms just look a little bit long, if you see what I mean. You can just trim them a little more and reshape it. I'll do that afterward. So I could, at this point, either add some little faux leaves that could represent wings, or I also really like to use flower petals for the wings. That one I would just cut right here. And I have another one. Here we are. think that might be a little faux sweet pea. Either way, it makes cute little wings. I like that. It's getting dark. I had to turn some more light on for you. So for her little wings, you want to look at it from the front to see where you want them to end up. And that one I'm going to want to glue right there. Look at it, make sure it's in the right place from the front. Same for the back. So there you go. I think she's pretty cute. For this little one, I'm wanting to use lots of springy colors because spring is coming and I'm excited about it. So I'm going to put her hair on. It's going to need to cover the back of her head as well as the top, or she'll just end up looking bald. So you want to get it on there first and look at the placement of it before you decide where it goes. So I could braid her hair, I could just leave it down like this, I could twist it up and turn it into a little style that goes up like this on her head. Lots of possibilities there. And I give her a little acorn hat. So I just want to put hot glue around the inside of this acorn cap. That's pretty much it. I think she's really cute. Now, if I wanted to make a little baby, I'm going to want to have a smaller bead, something about like that. And you have the choice of giving it arms, or you could even do something simple like swaddling it in a little blanket and put the blanket in a little walnut shell. That's pretty cute. I like to give it a little something to stick onto, so you can just add this little bit. Just put a little bit of hair on there. Really, you could just either tuck the excess into the blanket or wrap it around or cut it. I've got a smaller little acorn cap for this one's head. The longer hair is making it look older, so I think what I'll do is twist it in the back so that it ends up tucked in later. And this little bit's coming off, so I'm just going to pull that off so it's not in front of his face. So you could just tuck that into a little walnut shell if you wanted to. So there's our little baby. Pretty cute. So for this next one, I'm going to use a darker skin tone. I'm going to repeat the same process as far as how to make him. This time I'm maybe a little conscious of making the arms just a tad shorter than the legs because they came out a little bit too long last time. Fold the legs in half. The head's going to go on there. You want him to give himself a little hug a couple times. And really pull on it so it's on there. You could also add a little bit of glue if it didn't seem like it was tight enough. Get his little shape figured out. Generally, if you want him to have a little bit more of a masculine shape, the shoulders would be a little wider. Give him a little bend there where his legs go. There's his little feet. Let's say these were going to be his pants. What I would want to do is create a little pattern with his legs straight. You want to make a mark where you think the little higher than his waist would be. And so that's going to be about here. And you want it to be wide enough so that's going to be twice. It's going to look about like that. And then just cut down the center for his little pants. Just looks like that. Take a look at it before you cut it out of fabric. And in this case, I had already kind of figured that out, so it's about like this. I think I made this one a little bit wider, so I'm going to just trim it a tiny bit and cut it in half. That's going to become his little pants. So I'm going to cut these both at the same time so that they end up being the same size. And what I like to do is just run a very thin line of hot glue down the side. And stick those together. Same on the other side. inside the little legs. Now just put the little legs down through. Same for the other one. If you want this to tie in the back, you're going to start in the back, wrap around the front, just kind of snug it down like that. And then you repeat the same thing for the little shirt. Okay, so I want a little hair for him. I'm going to kind of bring it around the back. And then the same for the other side. Give him a slightly pointier little cap. And he would look really cute with little faux wings. I'm just going to pretend to glue those ones on because they're real. They're not really going to last. They'll get all crumpled up. Anyway, makes a pretty cute little family.
Thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed my video, please like and subscribe. You can also find me at robinsnestartschool.com.